the heart attack?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah. Wow, that's how we start off, is it?
All right, how about we start at something like this? All right, guys. What have you got more of, and how are you spending it? Today we're talking about time versus money. Which one's which one, as I say, is more valuable, where we can spend it, and how we can possibly not even save it, but how we can probably spend it a little bit more wisely. I'm joined by Michael Clift, my business coach, who is helping you master chaos, or he's mastering chaos to accelerate profits and free you from your business. I am Katrina from Butterfly Media, and I'm a digital marketer helping founders and entrepreneurs scale into a life of impact. And you are on the Social Butterfly, where we go live weekly and talk about all the fun things around business. Today we are talking about time versus money.
Hi, Katrina. Hi.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Rolling in
I love that.
time.
Rolling in
We're not
time.
rolling money anymore. We roll in time. Yeah.
Well, that's a great segue. Let's lean straight into it. What's more valuable in your opinion, time or money?
Oh, time.
Without a doubt, hands down, time.
Yeah, you just don't. It's not even a competition, right? Like if you break down why every single person wants money, it's because of time.
To buy more?
Yeah.
Not because I haven't got it.
Well, so here's how I would define it: is they want to be able to spend the time with who they want, doing what they want when they want. So they want to have control of their time. And what money does is it allows them to do that.
So let's talk about how important is money at, say, a small business owner or a founder or a startup who at this stage would be investing their time to create the business and build the revenue. So they're not coming to it with a stack of cash. So it's all about their time. So how valuable is their time at this stage? And I'd love to then lean into the comments. They've got enough. How do they then value their time? Because that's a different concept. So let's start with is time at the start of the game when I've got enough cash, and how long should I be investing my time before I've got enough cash to splash?
Okay. Bring me back to the second part after we do the first part, because otherwise we're gonna roll on. So from the perspective of when you don't have money to trade on and you only have time to trade on, and the hard thing is when we talk about the start of the game, you could have $1 million business and still not have money to trade on because you haven't got your profit right yet in your business, which is a challenging concept for a lot of people, but I see it happen all the time. So what the trick is finding the biggest leverage opportunities you have. And at the start, if I had to give some filters for someone to use, it's the same filters that I would give them to use for expenses, because instead of spending money, you're spending time. So, and the two primary ones are, does this activity get me a client? Or does this activity keep me a client? And then after it gets past that filter, so if you say yes, they're probably really good activities to do. There's going to be some exceptions, but for the most part, really good activities to do. If it's no, we go to, okay, these activities potentially can go on the chopping block or get pushed as a less urgent activity, but we put it under, is this business critical? If I don't do this, will my business fall over? And then if it goes through the first filter, second filter, and it's still no, well, they go down to the bottom of the waiting list. We would like to do that kind of things. We need to do the other stuff first.
Spending my time at the start of the business to make the business viable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can only lean into experience conversation, stumbled along with this a lot in the start, where, you know, I was working 100-hour weeks easily without even thinking about it and not getting anywhere, right? So I was just busy for busy's sake rather than perhaps doing exactly what you said, prioritizing the flow for income and revenue. Instead, I was building things and the next new idea and all of that.
So let's clarify that. Yeah, so let's clarify that. So this is something that I do with a lot of my clients, especially first starting out, because I'm a big believer. I work with a lot of service-based clients, and I'm a big believer, and we want to have a, let's call it a high ticket offering. It's probably not high ticket in the greater scheme of things, but for businesses when they're in the multiple six figures plus to 3 million, it is, and that's having something that you sell for 2.5 to 5K a month. For someone starting out, having something equivalent of high ticket is good to have, right? But what happens is when we're trying to build these offers together and get them rolling, we're like, oh, so if I'm going to do this, I need a website, and I need to make sure that I'm on every single social media platform, and I've got to have my business card. I better make sure my logo is good. And why don't I have some t-shirts? What about a hat?
I know we just moved them, but I'm sure you were around a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but this is what it is, right? Like we think we need all these things, and we're like, oh, I better go get an office because I need to have an office. When realistically, the most important thing that you can do is go, okay, here is the person I would like to help. Here's the problem that they have. This is the solution that I have for them. This is why I'm best fit to solve that problem for them. This is the outcome they're going to get. Build an offer and go, whether it's one platform, it's networking in person, whatever that is, where you can get that offer in front of some people and see if anyone wants it. So and the more people you can get in front of, the better. And it's picking. So like if you spend a lot of time on Facebook and your target market is there and you're good at Facebook, put the offer there, right? If you're really good at in-person networking, take the offer, go put it in front of people there. And that's where we should spend our time, because we don't need all the things. Like, you don't need a website to do business. You don't, for some people, having a social media presence to start with, I'm going to say to start with, because I think social media is becoming more and more important. But to start with, it might not be the most important thing. It's about how do we get our first dollar? And then how do we consistently build up to have cash flow so that firstly, we can keep the business functioning and then ensure that we feed ourselves and our family. And once we're at that point, then we can start looking at the nice to haves, like, oh, maybe I can make my website a little bit shiny. But even then, I would probably go, let's do the thing more and more first, because if you want to have a shiny website, well, you need testimonials and social proof, because that's what a website's about. So it means you need to do the thing more so that people will give you those testimonials.
I can't wish I had met you earlier enough.
Everyone's done it. Like,
Yeah.
every single person I've ever met does. Like, one of the first things I did when I was starting out my business is I went and dropped, and not a big website or anything, but I went and dropped 5K into a website that I never used. Like right at the beginning. I was like, now I just look at that and just go. But like, that's, everyone does it because we feel we need that. But what we really need is to just go help people. And you would actually be better off, rather than spend, like, let's say me, right? For that 5K that I spent on that website, I would have been better off investing that 5K in other people's businesses. And what I mean by that is having that 5K there so it can pay me while I go help people for free, to show that I can do the thing, make sure I actually know how to do the thing, and get results for people, so that then I can either help them for a month and then say, okay, awesome. If you like this, now it's paid, or I get a testimonial from them and then go put it in front of the next person.
This is fantastic. I remember at the start, I didn't have 5K to drop on anything. I think I've bootstrapped this business like a centipede on steroids, right? Or the way I sort of try to find funds from anywhere just to keep me sustained while I can go and do it. So it was all time for me. And I remember when I was starting out, it was like there's this new marketing thing to try, or a new way to get business in, or, you know, there was so many different things online to try that I'll never forget a coach that I was speaking to a couple of years ago. So there was like lead magnets, landing pages, websites, you know, freebies, groups, social media, in person, so many things. And he said to me, they all work, just choose one, right? So the same thing that you've just said, just choose one. And the minute he said that, I went, oh my God, clarity, right? So I think if there was some sort of rule book for the people at the start, whether they've got some cash to inject to get a business off the ground, or whether they literally are just doing it on the smell of an oil rag, right, as my dad would say. If there was like a 5-step process where it's literally like you said, get the offer or understand the market that you want to help, you know, get the offer down, get the solution, go do it, get in front of people in the easiest, quickest way. And I think that's the scariest thing too, why people do a lot of other things rather than just going straight to the market and saying, hey, I'm here, do you want to try me? Or here's, as you said, 5K in the back pocket so you can go help 5 people for free. You start to get that traction, that understanding. And that's time well spent, isn't it? Literally.
Absolutely.
Instead of 100 hours doing a million other things.
Just before we segue, I just want to touch on that quickly, if that's okay. So in my experience, there's 3 reasons, all based around one thing as to why people don't reach out and get in front of other people. So just as a backpedal, the reality is we can do social media, we can do website, SEO, YouTube, all that stuff, but it takes time. So if you because it builds up, you get attention and everything like that. If you need money now, you actually need to go and get in front of people. And the reason that I found that most people do that is based around 3 things. The first one is fear of rejection. What if they say no? Which honestly isn't a big deal at all. That's fine. Let's not go too much in depth because otherwise
we'll have sales talk another time.
Yeah, but the second one is fear of rejection, which is what if they say yes? Fear of acceptance. What if they say yes? What do I do then? Right? And then the third one is what if I'm not good enough? So it's all based around fear. But the one thing that I would say is there's a solution to all of those. And you don't make it about yourself. You make it about who is the person that you're going to go help, because we always do more for other people. So if we really focused in on, okay, I want to go help 10 business owners level up their social media so that they can get in front of their ideal client and help that person solve their problem, then it's about someone else. And suddenly you're like, oh, how do I get in front of 10 people? All right, I've got to go get out and network and talk to them. I've got to get on Facebook and see that someone's like, oh, I'm trying to do this. And you go, hey, can I help you with this? I really love what you're talking about. Are you looking for some support to get in front of these people?
It's funny you say that. I've literally got someone in mind that I'm about to do that with today. Literally that.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, I can see their socials and I'm like, oh, we need to get your message out this way. And I'm just about to reach out to them and say, hey, would you want to have a chat about this? So it's amazing the minute it's not at you yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then swinging back to time versus money as a value. A really cool entrepreneur that I have spent some time with, Daniel Priestley, is running some content at the moment, and he's talking about creating products and developing products for people that have money and no time. So people that have a big enough problem and a big enough budget without the lack of time to spend fixing it. So his concept is make things for people that don't have the time but have the money to buy the solution. So that's the time versus money part, right? So I'd love to lean into that when we're creating solutions or markets or people to start to work with. We need to look at who's got the money, right? So this is where how valuable is money now, right? When we move the cost as money. when does money actually start to become valuable? Because when I started to look, I didn't really understand the value of time because I've been throwing my own time out. I didn't understand the value of it until I started to look at this, and it's extremely valuable, our own time, right? So when does money become valuable in this equation?
I want to do a thing that's going to hurt a bit for a lot of people. Can I share my screen?
I'm pretty sure you can. Can you have a go? Will it let you?
I look remarkable.
Oh, how remarkable that is.
Okay. So let's say that you are caught up in the delivery. We're going to call it a digital marketing agency, right? So we're a digital marketing agency, and
Okay.
we have a recurring revenue offering that is, let's just call it $1,500 a month, right? So we got a $1,500 a month. I did that wrong way around, but that's $1,500 a month anyway, right? My remarkable doesn't want to let me do the thing. Here we go. So, and you're caught up in working on 2 and delivering 2 of those.
Oh, this is going to hurt.
Yeah, it is going to hurt. So that's
It's gonna
2
be
of
great.
those, which takes, between the 2 of them, it takes you 10 hours a month, right?
Yeah.
But with that same 10 hours, you could get 4 new clients,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So here's the thing. So we're going to do, how many are we going to do? 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. We'll just do 6. So that's $3,000 each month, right?
Yep.
So if you could get 4 new clients month 1, that is $6,000.
Yep.
Then the next month, with 4 new clients and the current 4 clients, that's $12,000. The next month, $18,000.
Oh,
The month after that, we're looking at 24, then 30, and then we're at 36.
in 6 months.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you've been caught up in the delivery for 2 clients, when if you could get the team delivering on those 2 clients and you were bringing in another 4 clients, this is assuming obviously you have the capacity to continue to bring on that same amount of clients, because that you might not, but like, let's just make that assumption for the sake of this, right? Let me just get my calculator and do some quick math so I don't look like a fool on the podcast or on the live.
My brain is looking at the fact that the 36K would then become a valuable piece of money, because then you could go buy team members and help you serve those new clients, couldn't you?
So on one side, you have, what's that? No, you have 18 compared to 126.
Oh, sorry. So I get it. So if you're serving your...
So if you're caught up in deliver, like, so this is where your time becomes very valuable and there's higher forms of leverage. So let's say you're just caught up in doing the delivery and you can only do delivery for 2 clients in 10 hours and you're capped on what you can get. Whereas if you are doing a different task with higher leverage, which is where you go acquire 4 new clients, suddenly we're looking at what, 6 times more outcome from a monetary point of view. And that's where we go, okay, it might cost me X, Y, Z to have an employee that can do the delivery, but do we care? No, we should be paying them as much money as we can. Or is it, is it do we outsource? What do we do to get that extra leverage? And that's where, once we get to a certain point with money, we should be looking, how do we invest money in buying other people's time so that we can get the best leverage out of our time.
So if I just have these little moments, so I'm like, this is, for instance, I'm spending 10 hours a month of my own time making 3K.
Yes.
And then if I free that up, so in a potential over 6 months making 18,000, but if we free that up, then I can go and potentially make 126.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So then that makes my time super valuable, where I should be out of the trenches and not in fulfillment. And as we've said, paying somebody else or buying somebody else's time for that. So I can go make this, and that makes my time super valuable.
Absolutely.
Which then the second point I made at the beginning about how do we, and now all of a sudden it's just become valued at 126,000 for 6 months, and that makes it quite a valuable. It changes your own thinking as the business owner as to how you're going to go spend it, doesn't it? It's like, well, this is what I'm worth. I've got to go and make this money.
Well, we're not even talking about lifetime value of a client either, because each of those clients potentially could be worth, like, let's say they stay with you for 24 months. Hang on, let me make sure that I'm mathing correctly. Times 24. So each of those clients would be worth about $36,000 to you.
And you haven't even finished the year yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you just get better at it because you spent more time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you probably find by the time you get to 6 months, it actually only takes you 8 hours to get 4 clients. So you're probably getting 5 new clients as opposed to, yeah, and that's where it comes in. So I might, if it's okay with you, just share another thing, because I feel like this is an important topic, and I don't want to be that guy, but I'm totally going to be that guy where I really rub salt in the wound, because I'd love, if we can help one person with this today, I'll be absolutely chuffed about it. So let's I
think it's so super valuable, I think, to understand the value of your own time, right? When you start to, it's such a different conversation.
It is a game changer, that's for sure. So I'm going to show you something that's on the back end of one of my websites. Okay, is that coming up? That's coming up.
My favorite tool.
Yeah, we were playing with this the other day, weren't we? So, okay, let's make sure people can see it. So effectively, I have profit acceleration software for anyone that doesn't know. And what we do is we can look at up to 40 key areas of your business, and it gives us a clear outline of great areas for us to target within your business, and we can work on those strategies to grow your business. So what I want to show you is, let's say we're talking about that marketing agency that, let's say that they're doing 542,000 a year. It's probably not that figure, but let's just use that as a number. Being a service-based business, they're probably operating, let's call it 73%. And given the average net profit is 10% or 10.42 for Australia, let's just go 11%. So we've got annual revenue, gross profit margin, net profit. So if we come down here, these are 12 areas we can look at. We've got some graphs, and then it's got your revenue, your new revenue if we do some stuff, and your profit. Now let's go, all right, I want to help you in 12 areas of your business over 12 months increase each area by 2.6%. And I'm going to ask you for 3 hours a week to do that. Okay. This is how valuable those 3 hours are going to be for you. If we go down here in each of the 12 areas, there's a 2.6% increase is not a huge amount. We could go, hey, you're not doing this, let's do it badly, and we'll get an increase. Oh. We don't want to do things badly, but 2% is not a lot at all, right? But suddenly we've added $150,000 or
For 3 hours a month.
$145,000 to.
For 3 hours a month of my time per se, so business owner's time.
Yeah, look, it's probably closer.
That's what.
It's probably closer to like 5 to 6 a month, but
still, it's still not a lot over the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and then we start looking at the revenue side of things as we go from 542 to 718,000
in 12 months.
Yeah, and then if we look
Yeah.
at the actual, if we look at the current profit that you would have, it's 60,000, and the new profit would be 205. So if you're wondering what the value of your time is, it's very valuable, and it's really important that we're spending it in the right areas and we're not messing around and doing fluffy stuff and being distracted by things.
When you say it like this, because then when you go to do that admin task, right, or do admin, but when you go to do the thing that you should be outsourcing, you can say to yourself, maybe I should spend it somewhere else.
So let me ask you a question. If we had a digital marketing agency and that owner was spending 5 hours a week solely on growing the business, do you think it would be reasonable to say that in 12 areas of the business, we could grow them by 5% over a 12-month period?
Yeah, particularly if you've got something like this to say, what are the 12 areas? And you can see it. So I've got a business owner right now, perfect example. It's not a digital marketing agency, but it's it's a service provider. And if the business owner, who is pretty good, is spending some time, I'd like to be spending some more time with them. If I could get 5 hours a month out of them, oh my God.
Well, I'm saying 5 hours a week for this, right? But like, I'm just trying to really quantify how important is your time. And you think about it, if you were willing to invest 5 hours a week in growing your business, and you could take it from $500,000 to $1 million or 900,000, but your gross profit goes from just under 60,000 to, sorry, your net profit goes from just under 60,000 to your new net profit is $372,000. Would you do it? And what stuff would you stop doing to do it? Right?
That's insane. So what would you need to do? And is that like too much of a low question? Because all businesses are different. Like, as the business owner, what would you need to do? Would it be outreach, sales, all those sorts of things, or is it learning? Is it just is the question too loaded?
So it's not really, because it becomes about going, what are the functions in your business that need to happen, and who is doing those functions? Because realistically, it's not you that should be doing all these. For you to get 5 hours to work on the business, it should be you looking at what is the team doing, not what are you doing. Your role as a business owner isn't to do the delivery, it's to provide the direction, it's to ensure that the team's getting looked after, it's to make, like, when we're like talking sort of like smaller business, yes, there is like, we've got to ensure customer satisfaction as well, really engage with that. But your role isn't to go and do social media posts all the time. It isn't to go and go, oh, I've got to do all this work or dig holes or anything like that. Like, there are times that we need to do that, but primarily your role is to build the business in such a way that you can help more of your clients, you can get what you want out of it, and that for people it's all different things, right? And also that you can help your team and support them, and they can live their lives and they can know that there's money coming in so that they don't have to worry about how they feed their family.
That's the best. Yeah, it's an interesting space to start to step into. So if you haven't done it before and you start to, in effect, become the CEO and step into that operations manager, if it's just under that, just making sure that all the parts of the business are working, like the team, they're all sort of, you know, working together. So yeah, then you step into that space. So there are, as we say, I say to my coffee shop, the girl that makes my coffee, you know, how you choose to feel today. Have to get into that, right? But ultimately,
just sorry to interrupt. Just for anyone that's listening and going, okay, well, that's great to say, but like, I've got all this stuff on and I'm busy. Like, how do I do that? So let's say you're solo or you're working with a couple of people in your business for you. Here's the thing, is you still have job roles in your business. You're just the one that fulfills all the job roles. So if you want to actually take them off your shoulders, the trick is to actually build yourself out an organizational chart and go, okay, cool. I am the general manager, CEO, or whatever you want to call that. I also happen to be the marketing specialist. I am also the operational person. I am also the whole digger. Like you may wear all these hats, but define what those job roles are, because the next step for you is to take those hats off your head. So if you clearly define what those job roles are, it might not mean that you hire one person specifically for one job. You might hire someone who does two of those jobs and suddenly two hats are off your head and you've got more time to look at the other things. It could be you outsource something. Like a really good one for most people that they should potentially consider outsourcing first is bookkeeping. Because for most people, it's going to take them longer to do all of their numbers than it does for a bookkeeper to do. And that's where the opportunity comes in.
okay. So then that's how you value your time. This was an amazing. We could probably chat about it for a long time.
Yeah, sorry, I completely took that away from social media.
No, about social media. Well, if we look at the value, actually, let's go there. The value of social media. Time it takes to create social media posts. Any small business knows. Most small people talking to that are doing it themselves say it takes them an hour to make one post. My world is unacceptable. It's way too long, right? In our world, it would take us an hour easily. Well spent when you're doing it all the time. But is that hour that business owner has spent creating that post worth it, right? When they put that post out, are they getting back, or are they getting any or awareness back? Are they able to measure that hour based on the return? And that's why social media feels like it's not worth it, right? Because depending on how you create the content.
Yeah, because let's say that I want to do 3 posts a week and that's 3 hours, and I can go do a job, like I'm a plumber or something like that, and I can go and do a job, right? And it's a $600 job, and that's 3 hours. So effectively it means an hour is worth $200 to me. And if I put a social media post and don't get anything out of it, or it doesn't feel like that anything's happening with it, I feel like I've just lit $200 on fire. That's why people do it. And I would also challenge whether it only takes an hour for people to do that, because it might when they start writing it, but how long have they been staring at a blank piece of paper for?
Yeah. That all turns out. Yeah.
And so from a social media perspective, it just becomes about, one thing is if you're working with an agency, and you would experience this being one or owning one, is that the person that's working with you still needs to put time, right? There is still an element of that because it is their business. But instead of, let's say they want to do 3 to 5 posts a week, and they only need to spend an hour with you and maybe another hour like photos, videos, all that kind of stuff. So they get more out of 2 hours with you than they would spending 12 to 15 hours for themselves. In the meantime, they've suddenly gained back 10 to 13 hours, which, if we look at the plumber example we just used, it's 2,000 to 2,600 that they've just able to do from a job perspective.
Yep. Plus, they've also got a really cool online presence.
Yeah. And also, when they're busy, they're not going to consistently post like having someone else do it.
Completely. I've talked time versus money for ages. If you guys that are listening have got any questions or comments around time versus money, any of your own experience on it, how to possibly, which we semi-touched on. I think we did a good job of touching on how to value your time and understand the value of it when, you can potentially increase your profit, your net profit by 200K or 250K, right? Then we start to understand the value of our time. I think that's a really gorgeous example. But yeah, and then it's also around the value of, say, the tradie, right? And how much time you get back. So time versus money, it's a good one, right? Our time is worth a lot. We just need to understand it and know how to spend it. So thank you, Michael, for spending some time with me today.
Oh, it's a topic I could spend days talking about. So yay, thank you.
And thank you everybody else for spending time with us today. Seeing you next week for another gorgeous topic around something awesome. If you'd like us to talk about something, again, by all means, drop it into the chat. As you can see, we sort of get a bit granular here and there on things, and we could talk about it for a while. So I'm sure we all love this space. So let me know if there's anything you'd like to chat about moving forward, and have a good week out there. So see you, team.